Back from the All-Star break, the Arizona Coyotes are back for a game day. Back-to-back game day, making up for those lost games, like the end of December, because now they have to go to Vancouver and to Seattle. Vancouver first. We're going to talk about that on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn Leon. I've been covering Arizona for, 5-6 years now. It's been a long time. Mainly the Tucson Roadrunners. I've been helping out with Five for Howling for quite a while. Next to me is Five for Howling's manager, Carl Pavlik. We are your wonderful hosts for this wonderful show. It's an amazing day, amazing game day, because guess what? We have a reunion, so to speak, right?
Couple reunions.
Because Ekman-Larsson and Conor Garland, it's back for them again.
Yeah. First time the Coyotes play the Vancouver Canucks this season, so first time we're getting a look at Garland and OEL with their new team. Given some of the rumors about Garland being shopped and the Vancouver Canucks not looking good, next two games aren't until April, so this may be the last time we see Conor Garland being in a Vancouver Canucks uniform. Probably not for OEL, though.
No, we'll have to wait and see how all that goes. But it will be nice to see those two players back. Before we get into the extra preview, though, I want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered all season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. But let's go ahead and start getting into this preview. So that's and again, that's the big thing that we should mention. And as we said, is that reunion, Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Conor Garland. And you already hit it. And you already hit it. Ekman-Larsson probably will see a couple more times in the Vancouver uniform. Conor Garland, as you mentioned, is probably going to be moved around a couple times more.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked to see him linked to the New Jersey Devils, which just seems like a bad team doing a move to try and get better, and that's probably not going to be enough. It feels very Coyotes. Felt like when we acquired Taylor Hall. But, yeah, Vancouver Canucks are not doing that so great this season, which is a good opportunity for the Coyotes.
There's a difference, though, when you made that Taylor Hall reference. There's a difference because the Coyotes were actually doing pretty decent.
The Coyotes were just top of the Pacific Division. I don't particularly know what's going on with the Devils. But we've seen teams like the New York Rangers have pretty quick rebuilds. So who's to say anymore? Like how quickly they are from turning it around. And that was just run rumors. So Garland may actually go with a contender, which is probably where he would be best served.
Yeah, especially because we already know what Garland can do, right?
Yeah.
Like we know that this guy is capable of just freaking being a superstar on any team.
Yeah. Although I will say his numbers don't look great with the Canucks.
Well, it's because the Canucks aren't a good team.
I mean, this is true, but I do think like quite a few players we have come to see. Garland may have been maybe a little bit more protected with the Coyotes last season. He's having a little bit of time adjusting. I was shocked to see that his numbers didn't look great when I was doing the research for today's preview.
I mean, yeah, I guess the adjustment periods take a while, but again, and I think a lot of it does go with that, with the people you're around it. And I said he can be a superstar on any team. Obviously, not any team, because there are certain teams that just aren't the right fit for a certain player, and it seems that Vancouver ended up being that for the former great Coyote. not really great, but the former Coyote who did some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to discount him too much. He's got 10 goals, 14 assists in 41 games, so he's tied with Brock Bosner, Elias Peterson. Good company to be in. But when you look at JT Miller and his 44 points, it's just kind of like a pretty steep drop to like that second group. And I would just expect Conor to be like, a little bit higher up there. I know he's definitely last season was the first time I saw him really start to, be more of a playmaker than just a goal scorer. And so it's nice to see those 14 assists in there, but still, I do kind of wonder, can he make that next step? Can he be like that, perennial superstar that it looked like he was going to be with the Coyotes?
Maybe, just maybe, it could have been that the Coyotes system was the best for him.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. It could be that he just really developed or like worked well under Tocchet's system. Maybe he worked best being the guy for the team and getting the juicy opportunities, the best ice, the best line mates, which he's not necessarily getting with Vancouver because he's not the guy. I don't know. It's up to him to kind of show that he can make that next step.
Yeah. But, of course, let's go back to also mention the other player who's going to be in reunion and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, because it's the former captain. And that's another player that's going to be around for a while in Vancouver, in a Vancouver uniform. At least it seems like, because of, that contract.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough contract for OEL. He's got 3 goals, 6 assists in his 43 games. Scored in the Canucks last game. He's a 0 plus minus if you put much faith into that, which you shouldn't. But at least he's not like a staggering minus, which we have sometimes seen from OEL.
Oh yeah, no, I think last year, what was an OEL, like a minus 23 or something like that?
Let me tell you.
I know it was something pretty low, and I'm just like, oh God, OEL, what are you doing? And I get it. He's a puck-moving defenseman, so obviously he's a defenseman, so defense is supposed to be his first job. But puck-moving defensemen tend to go up a little bit more, which is not a good thing sometimes.
He was a minus 17 last season. Not his career worst. He has finished a minus 28 before.
Minus 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. But minus 17 last year.
Yeah. He was a minus 28, 2017, 2018. So, I mean, 0 is definitely an improvement. His shooting percentage is way down, 2.9, which looks like it is his career worst going a while back. So, I would like to see OEL improve. I thought he showed like that he could be like a very strong offensive defenseman. He's getting kind of older, so that seems like it's not going to be as much of an aspect of his game. But as we've seen from players like Phil Kessel, like just because you're not able to score as much doesn't mean your offense is going to suddenly, trickle to 0. He could still like maybe pump up his assist numbers a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's going to be fun to see both of these players.
Yeah. I just hope they don't have too good of games, just because we've seen so many times this season, former Coyotes players just destroy my heart by scoring against the Coyotes in key moments. I still don't forgive Dylan Strome for getting that game winner on the power play.
Yeah, see, something about former Coyotes, especially I think especially for the players who leave on terms where it's just like, not really bad terms, but like more just like, what's the term? You know what I'm trying to get here, right?
Yeah. I mean, they definitely are players who have something to prove to their former team, because either, sometimes they are not great leavings, but other times it's just kind of like the team maybe gave up, and probably in their mind gave up a little bit too early. Like, I'm sure Conor Garland like wishes that he could have been part of the rebuild. His age makes me think that would have been a bad idea, but you know, for him, like he's still got a lot to prove. He's got a lot to prove to himself. He's got a lot to prove to his current team, and the way things are going, he's got a lot to prove to his next team, who's going to be acquiring him.
Last thought I'll say before we go to a quick break, and that is keep in mind what we were saying. I think I had you on at this time as a guest last summer when we were talking about kind of going through the things that the Coyotes did over the season and what they're going to do in the offseason. And this time we didn't even know Conor Garland was going to leave, but we're just like, but there was rumors about it. And you said, okay, so they are capable of staying as a mediocre team if they keep him, and maybe he can develop into something great. If they trade him, we know at that very point that they trade him, that it is full rebuild, full steam ahead, and
Yep.
that's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Conor Garland was the first, or was he the first piece, or
Technically, Aiden Hill was.
yeah, I was trying to think of that timeline, but he was one of that first dominoes that really signaled the year that we were going to have, for better or worse.
Yeah, Aiden Hill was more of the expansion draft workaround, but
the fact that one occurred like before the expansion draft, one occurred before the actual NHL entry draft, like those two events just kind of really get conflated in my mind because everything happened very quickly.
yeah. Well, because we had a much shorter off season. Like our off season was like what, a month long? Like
Yeah. I mean, even if it was a regular off season, Bill Armstrong did his rebuild very quickly.
oh no, he moved incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And again, I still give him a pretty high grade for the way he set it up.
Absolutely.
Anyways, though, we still got more to get to on this episode. We'll actually have to get into the preview, see what's going on both sides of the teams as we get ready for Arizona versus Vancouver over in Vancouver, British Columbia. All that coming up in just a moment. But first, quick word from Carl.
Got beard? Get primal. You heard me right. Got beard? Get primal. If you or someone you care about has a beard, it needs to get primal. Maybe you're the guy who's never considered the benefits of treating your beard with product. Primal Origin oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and with a low impact on our planet. Primal Origin oils makes balms, oils, and whipped butter that are renowned as the best feel and beard products available. All products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the United States. The combo kits also make a great holiday gift. If you're shopping for yourself, you'll be glad to pick one up. Not really a beard guy. I like to keep things pretty smooth, as the YouTube audience can tell. But one of the big reasons is because I don't like that scratchy feel. So if I ever decide to grow a beard, I'm going to get something like Primal so I can get rid of the beard itch. We know that every company claims to have the best, but Primal Origin Oils challenges you to compare their ingredients and the feel in your beard to other products you've used. We'll promise you'll see and feel the difference. Remember to use the promo code LOCKEDON to get 20% off at primaloriginoils.com. That's promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for 20% off.
So back here on Locked On Coyotes, I want to thank everyone once again for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen every day. Be sure to also check out the Olympic Hockey Daily presented by Locked On NHL, a bonus podcast covering all the action in Beijing. You can find it on the Locked On NHL podcast feed. It is free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And obviously, I'm going to be checking that out because Olympic hockey is awesome. I know NHL players aren't in it, but especially I want to focus on. I'm paying attention a lot to the women's side because they're always fun to watch.
Oh yeah, I love the violence that the women's U.S. and Canada game always seems to exhibit.
Yeah.
Honestly, like anytime someone's like, "Oh, hockey's the most violent sport," I don't want to watch women's hockey. I'm like, watch U.S. versus Canada. They hate each other and they are willing to drop the gloves.
Yeah, I'm a little sad Brianna Decker's out for the Olympics, but
Yeah. I mean, it sucks that we're already getting like athletes having to drop out of the rest. It feels like it just started because it did, but
yeah.
it's something, especially Winter Olympics. These are dangerous sports.
Absolutely. Anyways, though, let's get back to this game. Arizona Coyotes versus Vancouver Canucks. Let's get to some of it. Let's go to the injuries, Carl. And let's go ahead and start off the first one that you brought to my attention before we started recording. Scott Wedgwood out with an injury, so he will not be showing up this weekend. Ivan Prosvetov has been called up from the Tucson Roadrunners to take his spot for one of these games.
Yeah. Wedgwood looks like he has a chest injury, which scary. I don't like that. But this may be Prosvetov's first game against an easy team if he gets the start tomorrow, which everything I know about Tournier says he will. First time that Ivan Prosvetov is not gonna have to face one of the top teams in the NHL, which is kind of cool. I like that.
I'm reading through the injury list that you have listed on five for Howling, Carl, and I'm looking at Johan Larsson, and I'm just like, please explain that. I mean, yes, that hurts, but like, what?
Oh, the sports hernia. Uh,
Yeah.
looks like he is been updated to an early April return after surgery, which is rough. I just like looking down. We have Johan Larsson, we have Barrett Hayton, and we have Jay Beagle. Those are just three players that the Coyotes rely on pretty heavily, who are all expected to miss at least this month. Coyotes are struggling with injuries still.
And then, based off some tweets from yesterday, Carter Hutton did skate before practice.
Yeah. What was he? I feel like he was always like
He was
early
dated
the next month for the past
intermittently,
2 months.
day to day. He's just like,
Yeah.
day to day, day to day. Well, first when he first went out, it was like what, 6 to 8 weeks.
Was it even that? I thought it was
No, it was like no,
two.
it was like 4 to 6. It was like 4 to 6 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it seemed relatively minor,
Yeah, and
but
then and then I think after Wedgwood came in, they're just like, yeah, day to day.
yeah. I mean, with Wedgwood, there's no like real reason to push him. It's not like Carter Hutton really has a spot right now. So honestly, I'm fine with both the team and the player being like, look, we're just gonna take things easy. We're gonna take things slow. We're not gonna rush it. The Coyotes season can't be saved. Although, depending on who you ask, saving the Coyote season might involve playing Carter Hutton because he's not expected to win him too many games.
Make sure they don't yeah, make sure they don't overtake the Montreal Canadiens too much.
Yeah, I should note for the listeners, I did very heavy air quotes for save because that is the situation Carter Hutton is. Not a great goaltender, but I'm sure the team would rather have him in net than Prosvetov. So if Wedgwood ends up having to go out long term with a chest injury,
Then
maybe Carter Hutton gets back sooner.
yeah, we'll have to see. But a couple other players of note, I'm looking on the other side of injuries. Elias Pettersson out with an illness. Quinn Hughes is in COVID protocol.
Yep. I should note, like, when I look up injuries, COVID protocol is not always like the clearest on when they will be getting off it. I think that the site I listed him as going into yesterday, so he's probably going to be out for this game, but would need to confirm that.
We do need to confirm that because, I mean, especially because they changed how things go, and it looks like Sportsnet just said 12 hours ago, Canucks will just have to survive with Quinn Hughes in COVID protocol.
Yep. So yeah.
Yeah, he was just placed on it yesterday. So.
Oh wow. All right. So cat friendly tweet from yesterday. Oh my God. Jack Hughes, Kyle Palmieri, Evgeny Malkin, Quinn Hughes, Pierre-Luc Dubois, all placed in COVID protocol in one day. That is, oh my God, that is some big names around the league.
Oh man. And keep in mind, Carl, this is on the first week that they changed the freaking rules.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to be going on with the NHL. It feels like because they seem to make it clear that we're going to have fewer of these like players being placed in COVID protocol if we're not testing the asymptomatic players and doing all the other stuff. And then you immediately just drop a bunch of players, and you're like, yeah, we made the rules different, but I don't know. I'm still waiting to see what the NHL is going to do about COVID. Hopefully, they get it resolved before the playoffs because playoffs are one of those things that hockey fans do not want you to mess with. Regular
Nope.
season, they don't like it, but it's fine. If something happens in the playoffs, people are going to get murdered in the streets. So
Playoff is a whole different season. It's just
yeah,
like it's more of like it goes from like each of the seasons from level of care to from like 0 all the way up to 100.
yeah. I mean, the fact that we talk about penalties different in the playoffs than we do in the regular season just kind of says something. I don't know. Maybe the best option would be bubbles, but the NHL seems to want to sell tickets too, so bubbles with fans probably are not the best plan. But
There's a
who?
reason why Gary Bettman's not happy with Ottawa like limiting to 500 fans or whatever. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I think he should probably just get over that one. I don't
I mean,
particularly.
not like they're gonna get much anyways.
Yeah, they have lower fans than the Coyotes, which I hear is not supposed to happen.
I know, right? Canadian market, like what?
Yeah, Canadian markets are supposed to be solid. Don't get me started. Well, we need more Canadian teams with a fluctuating currency rate. That seems like a great idea.
I know. I know some of you Canadian fans are gonna hate us, but guess what? That's the truth.
Canadian fans already hate me.
Yeah, probably. They probably already hate both of us based off a lot of the stuff we talk about, especially of the latest in the Coyotes and Tempe and all stuff like that.
Yeah. Canadian fans hold a grudge. So as soon as you cross them once, you're just on the list.
Anyways, though, before we get to a quick break, I want to get your biggest thing you're looking at for this game.
Biggest thing I'm looking for is if the Coyotes power play can make something happen. The Vancouver Canucks are currently the only team with a worse penalty kill than the Coyotes. So if the Coyotes can get something going with the man advantage, then now is a good time to start. I'm hoping to see that improve in general. It'd be great to see that improve tonight.
So, special teams, your key to the game.
Special teams, yeah.
Special teams, your key to the game. I mean, I think that's almost always going to be a good answer for the Coyotes.
I mean, here's what happens with the Coyotes. They have the second worst penalty kill in the league, and one of the worst power plays. So it's very rare where they have any kind of special teams edge. And this is one of those few occasions.
Exactly. Anyways, though, we got more to get to on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. We got to make our predictions. How are things going to go? All that later on this episode. But first, I want to let you guys know that BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football continues its march to the playoffs right down to the big game in a couple of weeks. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. It's not just football. BetOnline has up-to-the-minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, along with live real-time updates on current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers for 2022. BetOnline, where the game starts. Speaking of BetOnline, Carl, it is time to go to our Bet Online picks of the game. To
Hmm.
see what the betting spread is. As I get it loaded up here onto my monitor, we have the Vancouver Canucks at 1.5 favorites, minus 225 on the money line, plus 201 for the Arizona Coyotes. Total points set at 5.5.
Hmm. I wonder if the Coyotes are going to be favorites tomorrow against the Kraken. Um,
That's a possibility.
yeah. I think the Coyotes are gonna. I think they're gonna get this one. I feel like the Vancouver Canucks are a damaged team. They got a lot of people on injury. They're gonna have to deal with a lot of systems. The Coyotes are looking to kind of build off their loss from last week. Both teams going to be insanely rusty. I think this one's going to be like a high offense 5-3 Coyotes win.
A high offense 5-3 Coyotes win. So you have the Coyotes both covering, even winning, as well as this going over.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very sloppy.
Now, here's the question on in a betting perspective: do you take the points or do you take the money line? How confident are you?
Not very.
You're not going to guarantee a win.
I'm not guaranteed to win. I'd probably do the points.
We'll take the points.
Yeah.
Okay. What am I thinking for this game? I'm thinking. Okay, so it tends to be when we have those games that are a week off, right? It's been a long
Yeah.
time
For both teams.
for both teams. We get these high scoring what the frick games.
Yeah.
So that said, I'm also gonna have this one go over. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 4-3 Coyotes win.
Okay. A little bit higher than me, but okay.
Yeah, 4-3 Coyotes win. And I'll take the money line.
Regulation, overtime, shootout.
Ooh, good question. Regulation.
Okay. I did see the Vancouver Canucks. They have a couple of impressive wins in the last 10 games. And they took a couple of good teams to overtime in the shootout. I just think that this is one of those games where both teams are going to be playing tomorrow. I think they're going to both have better, tighter games tomorrow, but things are going to get loose and crazy tonight.
It's gonna make it it's just gonna make it fun, right? You know,
Yeah.
that's what I don't get about back to back. Still, like we're in the Olympic, what was supposed to be the Olympic break, and like which means we had a lot of time, and they go ahead and put on a back to back.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of teams, and the Coyotes have missed relatively few games compared to them. Same with the Vancouver Canucks. So I feel like the schedule is more designed for teams that have missed like 7 to like what's the fewest number of games that's been played this season? Like the Senators have only played 41. The Islanders have only played like 39 games. So this break is more to get them caught up, more so than the Coyotes and the Canucks. Canucks have played 46, Coyotes 45.
But again, that still doesn't really solve the problem of being able to spread things out, because like why can't you spread it out? Why do you have to have a back to back?
I'm not. I have in my former job. I worked with event schedulers. I didn't do any work with them directly. But I can only imagine how much chaos it is in trying to like cram a bunch of reschedules into what should have been your Olympic break. So I'm not going to be too hard on them. Plus, yeah, Coyotes get back-to-backs. It's just what happens.
Yeah, they have back-to-backs. It's the Vancouver Canucks tonight, the Seattle Kraken tomorrow. The rest of the games, the only have one more other game this week, and that is against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think that was another missed game.
I believe so, yeah.
On Friday.
Yep, and then a whole week off, and they come back on next Saturday against the Kings, the 19th.
How fun! That's gonna be an absolute blast.
We're
But
gonna have a fun time generating content next week.
Hey, I think so. At one point next week, we're gonna have a pretty good guest. I won't reveal who it is yet.
Yeah,
but
tease
you guys are gonna love it. You guys are gonna love it. I think in the week leading up to it, I'm gonna drop hints. I'm gonna drop hints.
Okay. Let's see how subtle you're able to do. I will be watching your hints to see how they do.
Oh, don't worry. I have some time to bring up the hints. Again, I'm not going to start dropping them until next week.
Yeah. Oh, it's only Tuesday still.
Exactly. Maybe I can start dropping them on Friday's episode.
Anyways, you want to close out this one?
Absolutely, though. We are running out of time of this episode of Locked On Coyotes. Once again, I want to thank everybody for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen of the day. Now it's also time to go ahead and check out our friends at Locked On Bets. You know we do a lot of betting content here based off the Coyotes games, but if you want to take a look on any other betting advice across all of the sports, go ahead and check out our friends at Locked On Bets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, free and available on all platforms. Your team every day. But again, that is it for us on this episode. Hope you guys like what you heard. If you did, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcasts, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, on Instagram at LockedOnCoyotes, on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am at Robyn_Leano. Carl Pavlik is Carl Pavlik FFH. Interact with us, ask us a question you might have. We might interact right back, DM right back, or on a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.